June 1st, 2022, 7 p.m. virtual selection committee interviews of candidates for the finance committee meeting to order. I will read the governor's statement in a moment, but I pointed this out to folks before it started. The agenda that got published had a sentence at the bottom of it that said the selection committee recommendations to the BOS. And that was a note I had written to myself on the agenda, and it didn't get removed before it got posted last week. That would be the next step in the process where the moderator would write the recommendations to the nominations to the Board of Selectmen. And I didn't know how to word it properly. It just didn't come off the agenda. So I apologize for that. That was caught over the weekend, and this morning an amended agenda was put up. So I need to read the governor's paragraph. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, OML, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 860-8777-1519 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. With that said, it's a little unclear on how we approve an agenda. I believe the 5 members who are here, and I'd like to announce them. We've got Fred Aponte, who's representing the finance department of the town. Mark Smith, who is here from the finance committee. Scott Hood, who is here from the Board of Selectmen. Dan Gleason, who is here as a resident of the town of Ayer, and Michelle Granger, who is here as a representative of the Ayer Regional School Committee. And for one quick moment, I am going to share my other screen. Can you all see that and the yellow highlighted area? I'm going to make it a little larger. Can people see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
So this is Article 4 of our town bylaw. And Article 4D states that candidates for the Finance Committee will be interviewed by a 5-member selection committee composed of a member of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, Ayer Regional School Committee, the Ayer Finance Department, and a member of the public. Appointments will be made based on a simple majority vote. So is that clear for folks?
Clear to me.
Any
Yes.
questions? Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing that because it's very hard to see who's who when I can't, when that's shared on the screen. So
The so the selection committee makes a recommendation to you, and you accept the recommendation or have further questions about it or reject the recommendation, presumably. That is, they recommend to you what they feel might be the best course of action. But from the sound of what you just read, they make a vote, and the simple majority vote you are bound to follow, or it's not you who are appointing them, but rather a vote of the selection committee.
Jeff, if I may,
Mr. Aponte, please.
Fred Aponte, town finance manager. In most towns, this whole process is done just by the moderator. This is very new to me. I've never seen this before. Usually the moderator interviews his or her own candidates. They make the decision and make the recommendation to the select board. And actually, I don't even know if they have to make the selection or if they can just appoint them. So just a little note.
No, yeah, I'm just going by what Jeff just read to us from the bylaws. So, and I don't have a particular view of this. I'm just wondering, is the selection committee going to vote and a simple majority will be the candidate? Or does the selection committee vote and then the moderator take that under advisement and then make a choice?
Well, Mr. Kern, thank you for asking that question. Since we haven't gone through the process, I can't tell you what it's going to be.
my suggestion would be that the committee makes a recommendation to the moderator and he either appoint or brings them to the select board or not.
Yeah,
Mr.
So-
Moderator,
Yes, please, Mr. Hood.
so I was part of the group that put together that portion of the bylaw, and I was also on the finance committee for years, in which we had individuals who were appointed to the committee, to the finance committee without a selection committee being brought forward. At that time, years ago, we did discuss with town council. So the way that the bylaw is written is that the final decision on who is on the finance committee sits with the moderator, him or herself. However, the selection committee was put in as a safety mechanism at the time for fear of kind of having a moderator come into a position, wholesale clear the finance committee and reappoint whomever they want. So the selection committee was more designed just to give a second voice to the vetting process, but also to bring it into a more public forum for that vetting process. So to answer the question, the absolute appointment is by the moderator, and they have that ability to disregard what this committee does say, but it does at least get things out into the public where we can see why the candidate was recommended or not recommended.
Thank you.
all right.
you very
thanks-
much,
thanks
Scott.
for that. That's helpful.
You're welcome.
So the next thing I was going to say is we've got a call to order. I would ask that we have, that the committee do approve the agenda that we're going to work with. And if you don't have it in front of you, it's the selection committee introductions. We'll go through quickly who's here for the selection committee. And then we have candidate interviews, and we'd space them out about 20, 25 minutes apart. I'm not sure they'll take that much time. And the question I had of the committee was, do you want the candidates to all be here during the selection, or can we put them in the waiting room? And there we go. I think Dan, Dan, I think your computer just joined. And finally, we'd ask that the selection committee at the end make their recommendation before we adjourn. So, Scott, did you ever see that there would be a chair selected from the selection committee to run it, or would I be as moderator? I would run it.
I would assume that the moderator would run it.
Be happy to then. Okay. So may we have a motion from one of the selection committee members to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Mr. Aponte, and thank you, Mr. Hood, for the second. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, I need to do the roll call vote of the members. Mr. Aponte, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Hood,
aye.
Ms. Granger,
Aye.
and Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
With that being said, and I can't recall if I introduced all the members after we called to order, so I'm going to do it quickly now so we have it on record. Scott Hood is representing the Select Board. Michelle Granger represents the Ayer Regional School Committee. Mark Smith, the Finance Committee. Fred Aponte is with Town Finance Department, the Finance Manager, and Dan Gleason is the resident. The candidate interviews, we have 3 candidates this evening. I think the issue of having them do it one at a time has been taken care of at this point by we only have one of the candidates here. Mr. Diamond, who was first on the list, who has been, I believe, for 5 years, the chairman of the, he's been the most recent chairman of the Finance Committee, and he has been with the Finance Committee in town for 5 years, is unable to join us this evening due to travel. He is out of town, I believe, at this point. Second, we have Mr. Cordova, who is not with us just yet. And finally, we have Mr. Freskowski, Kurt Freskowski, who's with us right now. So I'm going to recommend that the selection committee do their interview process with Mr. Freskowski to start. Does anybody have questions?
Yeah,
And
Fred Aponte, Finance Manager. I guess my only question really is, do you have any experience at all with municipal finance?
Hi, Kurt Freskowski. Directly working in the city government, no.
I don't know. I guess, I mean, because, I look at the resume, and anybody to me involved in finance is going to be an asset. Obviously personality and all that matters, but if you had any experience at all, I mean, other than paying your taxes, I guess, and, the process that we run through, the budget process, the whole thing.
I mean, I've been on boards, nonprofit boards. When I am originally from Wilmington, Delaware. Then I think you'll see that I lived in Swampscott during the 80s, moved back to Delaware, then came back. I would put out that my father was the chief judge of municipal court in the city of Wilmington. So over the years, I was very familiar with the workings of the city of Wilmington government.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's really all I wanted to know. I mean,
Yeah.
You can learn the budget process for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, on the nonprofits, I've always ended up being the accountant, finance person, working with the numbers that it always seems to
Thank you.
come on to me, and it's I've got a skill there, and I'm glad to put it out there to help the way I look at it.
Yep, agreed.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment, if you don't mind, and ask you to get your questions ready for Mr. Freskowski. We've just been joined by Sebastian Cordova. His screen name has come up as Mr. Clear to Close. Sebastian, are you there?
Yes. Hi, gentlemen. I'm here. How are you?
Good.
Very well. Thank you very much. Are you capable of changing your screen name from Mr. Clear to Close to Sebastian Cordova, or is that?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to.
If you don't mind. And let me
Yep.
fill you in where we are. The selection committee, I don't know if you can see pictures or if you only have audio.
I can see, and I actually have audio as well. Yes.
Okay, great. So we currently have the 5 members of the selection committee here, and they've started asking questions of the other candidate, Kurt Freskowski. And I was going to ask, because you weren't here, we started with him. It's not a negative that you weren't here, Mr. Cordova. But I'm going to ask you to, let me ask the selection committee, do you want to have everybody present, or would you like Mr. Cordova to sit in the waiting room while you talk to Mr. Freskowski?
I don't think they're competing for a job. So, I mean, it's not I don't know. I find it's okay if they were both here, in my opinion.
Okay. Anybody feel strongly either way? I don't think so.
No objections.
I see, Michelle, I see your head shaking side to side, so I'm going to go with that's the, if you don't mind. Yeah, since this is an audio and video record, we kind of have to have input too. So, okay, great, Mr. Cordova, thank you for joining us. There you are.
Yes. And I apologize for tuning in
No
here
worries.
late, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
No worries. So at this point, they were talking to Ms. Freskowski about some questions. Anybody else have questions? And do you guys want to move forward with asking questions of both candidates at the same time, both nominees?
I think that could work.
Good. You want to ask Mr. Cordova the same question, Fred?
Sure. Mr. Cordova, I'm Fred Aponte. I'm the finance manager for the town. The same thing I asked Mr. Freskowski. Anyway, do you have any municipal experience at all? Municipal finance.
I appreciate the question. And so I did intern for a bit there with Marlboro Economics Development Corporation, which with Marlboro, I know it's a city different than the town here in Ayer. But it was a good opportunity for me to kind of connect with the town and kind of get a good understanding of how important the finances and financials are really in growing the town or city.
All right, great, thanks.
Questions from other members of the select board? Yes, Mr. Hood.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, please.
So I'll start with Mr. Freskowski. Are you registered to vote in the town of Ayer?
Oh, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, I was at the town meeting last week, or a few weeks ago.
Okay. That was going to be my next question. How long have you been in town, and how many town meetings have you attended?
Well, I moved officially to Air last May 22nd, I believe. My wife has been living here for 2 years previously. We purchased a property on 3 Calvin Street, and she moved up here. And I am, this is a public forum, retirement age. So this is where I had to move back to Massachusetts for retirement. So there is, you're noting I've only been here a year, but that's why I did put on my resume that from 82 to 89, I lived in Swampscott, Massachusetts. At that point, I ran an inn, which is now long replaced by condominiums on the same place by Anthony's Hawthorne by the Sea. So Fred, back to your question, in running that inn, I was involved with, working with the Board of Selectmen because obviously we were subject to town regulations and with the building inspector, things like that. So I was used to working with visiting and working with the town of Swamps.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Piskowski.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Gleason.
I guess I'd like to ask a question of both candidates, but I guess we'll start with Mr. Frykowski because he was here initially, but for no other reason than that. What's motivated you personally to want to get involved in town government and step up at this point in time for this particular role?
Well, like I said, I've been here, a year. My wife's been here 3 years. But I've also, one of the reasons we moved here is that her friends have been here for 15 years. So I have been visiting Ayer for many years. And one of the things I've always tried to do is wherever I am is to be involved in some way in a board, nonprofit board, or some way I can be of service. That's always been, I always do wherever I've been. And in meeting various people in the town over the past year, I have met a lot of people. One of the things that have came up, Jeff brought it up, and actually I was talking to the former moderator, Jim Connor, and I was talking to him, and he mentioned the need that the finance committee was looking for people. And I have a financial background. So it's a way for me to contribute. And the town of Ayer, I'm really glad I'm here. It's a interesting town that it's got a long history. It's got the connection to Boston. One of the reasons I liked this here was the train being here. And it's a very well-run town, and I've gotten to know a lot of people here, and I think I make a contribution. I want to see the town continue to grow in a responsible manner. And the town meeting was very enlightened, very well run. It was a pleasure hearing, the town chief, fire chief, police chief, and all the people got up to speak. And I'm like, okay, this is I think that was the final piece that made me decide to really get involved. I said, this is a well-run group.
All right, thank you very much.
Contribution. So.
Mr. Cordova, same question.
I appreciate the question. So kind of the reason I got into what I do is, I felt that for my community, there was a lack of communication and resources for real estate, or basically to get any knowledge within finances, right? So that's the reason I kind of dedicated myself within mortgages to kind of dedicate there. But I think that it's important for us to be able to kind of direct that focus towards the community that we live in. I've been living there it's gonna be my 5th year this year. So for me, I see such potential. I love the town. The people are great. The businesses I see that luckily have been, growing. So all I would love to be able to do is just kind of be able to grow, get molded, kind of understand the system, and be able to maybe get more community outreach involvement so that we all continue to grow together financially and I guess as a community.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Smith has his hand up. Physical hand, not the virtual hand, Mark.
I was getting ready to do my, if you want the hand, there's the hand, okay?
No. What happens is when you put your hand up, it rearranges the screen in front of me.
Yeah, there you go.
And I feel like I have a senior moment, so
There you go.
don't do that.
There you go. So I've been on the finance committee now for, in actuality, I don't recall how long I've been on the finance committee. But I'll get to my question. Well, my question is going to be, how much time is involved with the finance committee, your availability and your willingness to make sacrifices of your time. So when the town goes through its budget cycle, we start, or the town manager starts and the departments start in the fall. And when they start, it is probably, and this is just a guess because I wasn't keeping track. You're probably going to end up having at least 2 to 3 hours a week, maybe, of reading emails and keeping up with the when meetings are going to be held and attending those meetings. And usually those meetings it was convenient during COVID because they were virtual, but now going back to in person, they're usually in the evenings. Let me rephrase that, late afternoons or evenings. I found that I had to sometimes make because those meetings are important to the town and the cycle is important to the town, and having a quorum on the finance committee is important. I had to make professional sacrifices of my time with my company, and I let my company know that that's where I was going and why I was going there. So I'd like to hear from you about your availability and your willingness to make a sacrifice to be able to carry out the duties on the finance committee.
Would you like me to go first? Then, Jeff?
Sure.
Please.
Town is on a regular calendar year, correct? 12/31 or 6/30 year.
It's 6:30. Correct.
Okay, it is sick. Okay, yeah. And the reason I asked that is that when I was on the board of a nonprofit in Wilmington, one of the things we had to do was Delaware's on the 6/30 calendar, and come in April, May, June, we had to start getting our paperwork ready because we were get grants from the states and everything like that. So I'm sort of used to that cycle there. And I'm guessing when you say 2 to 3 hours, again, this would be more in spring as we approach the 6/30 year end, or all 52 weeks a year. I was just curious myself.
It's not 52 weeks a year.
Okay.
It's more of the budget cycle. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I figured. Yeah.
Hey, Mark,
So
I'm sorry, Mark, would I be out of place if I said the budget cycle starts sometime around October?
Scott can correct me if I'm wrong, but
I see Scott drive by and he smiles up until like October 1st, and then he's not smiling again
Yeah,
until
yeah.
until
There's a lot
So,
of
I mean,
reasons for that.
long story short, it fluctuates. It comes and goes. I mean, if it's depending on what's coming through and everything. I'm guessing the budgets will have to be all presented and reviewed. And again, I'm assuming 6/30, so I'm backing off of there in the spring. But with you mentioning October, then there's other things going on, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd say it's about October through May, or whenever time.
Okay, gotcha.
Mr.
Okay.
Moderator.
yes, please, Scott.
So officially kicks off in October. The committees, the subcommittees, et cetera, like capital planning, et cetera, will start in, I believe, early November. So there's some pre-work. The departments submit all of their budget requests to the town manager's office, generally at the end of December. That gets put together and sent out to the select board and the finance committee in mid-January. And then between mid-January and the end of April, when the warrant goes to print, that is kind of that is that crunch time for the budget process.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
So, and I think as far as having the time available, that's one advantage of being quote unquote retired, though I am working full time. But I should mention that one of the things, I do have a Series 65 license through FINRA. And one of the things I have had to do with my work is to let them know that I am have been interviewing for this position, and they will be letting me know if I can continue with that. And they asked me, and I said it's, and correct if I'm wrong, strictly an advisory position, appointed, and with no powers per se. In fact, what I did was paste the finance committee summary from the town website and send it to my compliance group. Summed it very well. So having said that, my company, Census, is very understanding and also likes to have community involvement. So I will be supported and be able to break free. And I'm used to doing it, you know, pulling away to do things that need to be done.
Thank you. Mr. Aponte's got his hand up before we
Yeah,
get to Mr. Cordova.
Fred Aponte, Finance Manager. I think it's also important to know that even when the budget season is over, we still need a full functioning finance committee because we have reserve fund transfers at the end of the year and interdepartmental transfers.
Mhm.
Some finance committees will appoint the chair to sign off on those, but Ayer has there's more procedures involved with it. But I think it's important to know that. So it's like up to July 15th, there's still some responsibility.
Mhm.
Thank you, Fred. Mr. Cordova, would you like to answer Mr. Smith's question?
Yes, absolutely. So fortunately, I do have the luxury of being able to set my schedule ahead of time. So if I was fortunate enough to be able to be part of the finance committee, as long as I will have enough time to just plan my schedule ahead, I can always time block and just make sure that my time is committed appropriately. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith, does that answer your question?
That does. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Other questions from members of the select committee?
So,
Yes,
no,
Michelle, go
I
ahead,
was
please.
I was only going to say, since I haven't asked a question, my question was similar to Dan's question in the sense that, why the finance committee and why now, and what special skill or skill set do you feel as though you bring to the finance committee? It's similar to what you've already answered, but if there's anything else you want to add, it sounds like maybe we're winding down in questions anyway. So
yeah, let me do this. Sebastian, Mr. Cordova, before you were able to get here, Kurt spoke a little bit about what his finance background was. I don't think you've had the opportunity to talk about your finance background outside of your experience in Marlboro. So do you want to take a moment and do that, please?
Absolutely. So I'm a senior loan officer. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Seacoast. I've been in the business for 5 years. So my job is really to primarily underwrite somebody's finances and understand what their debt to income ratio is. Basically giving them the maximum amount that they can qualify for. But at the end of the day, understanding what they feel comfortably at the end of the month. So over the years, I've been able to create just relationships, not only with real estate, but also attorneys and other finance committees, which with the Marlboro City Development Corporation was a great opportunity for me to kind of launch myself in within the community, which now that I've been able to establish career-wise within the real estate, I have the time to be able to dedicate to a community and be able to be part of a finance committee to help grow. I mean, just kind of doing outreach. I think for me, something that I feel passionate about is just being able to be hands-on, boots on the ground, and just reach out, maybe new ideas and work together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cordova. Does that bring any other questions to mind for the selection committee? Okay. Dan, you look very pensive there.
Yeah, I was talking into a muted microphone, so you didn't hear me say I had a question.
It's like me at home with the cat, right, Dan?
Exactly. So Mr. Cordova and then Mr. Firkowski, just so Mrs. Granger and I shared time on the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee, and prior to that, before Ayer was regionalized, I was on the Ayer School Committee, which in Massachusetts, I'm not going to quiz you on how public education works in the state, but when you are a district within the town, there's a lot more interaction directly with the town. I think the FinCom and Select Board have a great deal more oversight. Well, in a regional district, which we have become, certainly the school committee wants to work within the town's finances and recommend reasonable budgets, but ultimately goes to town meeting and just asks the voters directly to approve, what they want to put forth. But again, there's always briefings with the FinCom and the Select Board, I'm sorry. And so I'm just curious about your thoughts on public education and public education finance in particular, and kind of working within that system where you will certainly have input on school finances, but ultimately there's some autonomy on the regional district side, the way the law works in Massachusetts, where you might not be able to impose as much of your will on it as you may like. Mr. Cordova, would you like to start?
Yes, absolutely. So I appreciate the question. And to be quite honest with you, that's a new topic for me. It'd be something that I would be openly, learning and basically taking your guys' guide on this and your lead. How do I feel about public education and our education system? I have a newborn. So for me, that's, I think, one of the reasons why I also want to get involved in the community. Having a newborn, I want to make sure our community is not only financially strong, but also educationally strong, right? So, to be able to continue to grow. So something that I don't have much experience in, but I'm open to learning. That's something that I've always been able to do, is to adapt and learn quickly.
Yeah, and I don't expect anyone to have any experience of this. When I first joined the school committee, I had none, and was just given the same question. And so it's more of just letting you know that difference exists between some municipalities and regional districts. But yeah, I don't expect anyone to necessarily have that knowledge and experience coming in. Mr. Firkowski.
Oh, so either the new high school was built in 2015 or the districts merged in 2015 also, or did the
Districts
merger?
moved about 5 years prior. I think, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the vote was 2010. There was a transition year, so I think it was 2011 we were officially.
It was.
Okay.
And
Right,
then the
and
school was approved quickly after that by the new school committee. We're working with the towns, and construction commenced, and as you said, completed around 2015.
Yeah. So and that's what it was interesting seeing that, because one of the things that schools always, well, in various places, is that struggle with finances and what have you. And what I saw here was that you've got two smaller towns, and the smart thing to do was to merge the districts so that you could have more resources and everything like that. So that was a good move there. And I understand what you're saying, where that with the regional school district, then I'm assuming Shirley has an input in it also, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. So then, there's, but then since the school was actually located in here, we're going to, we have to be aware of that. But the bottom line is, I always tell it this way. I used to teach new employees in one of my jobs in the 90s. And in my opinion, teachers who work with children and teenagers can never be paid enough. And my sister-in-law was a teacher. And I say that jokingly because, I was working with adults and that was fine. Yeah, we did. The teachers and schools just need our full support. That's I always felt strongly about.
All right, thank you.
Other questions or comments from members of the selection committee?
Ms. Moderator, I'll just make a quick comment to kind of continue on what Dan said. So I joined the committee, the finance committee, back in 2009, I believe it was, 2008, 2009. I had zero experience. I have a financial background, but no experience whatsoever with municipal. And, you know, I think Michelle and Dan will say the same thing. The amount that you learn and the type of people you get to work with are fantastic. And you know, you really get this sense of pride that what you're doing really impacts your neighbors and everyone in your community. So, you know, it's a learning experience, and you take from it what you put into it.
Thank you, Scott. And I know some of you know this about me. Some of you don't know this about me, but prior to coming to Ayer, close to 9 years ago, I served in my hometown of Belmont, Massachusetts, and I was on the warrant committee in Belmont, Massachusetts, I believe for 11 years. And I was fortunate enough to be appointed by a person I was nominated by a friend of mine who was leaving to go off and become the work for Moody's, doing town, worked for Moody's doing bonding for doing bond Moody's agency, doing bonding for doing town finances. The first year was, it was a blur. I learned so much about it, and then it seems to settle down. New things come up year to year, but the ramp is real steep in the beginning, and then it becomes, and it does get easier over time. I'll say that, and I have to concur with select person Hood. You get to impact your neighbors, and it's a lot of fun. Sometimes your neighbors take you to task. You stop going to supermarkets for a while, but outside of that, it can be a very, very rewarding experience. With that said, if there's no other questions from the select board, I think the next thing I need, Mr. Diamond, would the select board be comfortable in making a recommendation for Mr. Diamond this evening, knowing given his past experience in working with the town, the issue that had come up before that that prompted Mr. Diamond to resign from the committee has been rectified and is no longer a problem for Mr. Diamond. So he'd be happy to be reappointed and continue to serve with the finance committee. I'll put that out there also for you all. So if we're at a point where we can get recommendations, I'd appreciate that. I'm sorry, I have a hand up. Excuse me, Fred.
Okay.
Pauline, do you have a question?
Pauline is muted. I don't know if she's talking, but if you are talking, Pauline, you're muted.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
there
Michelle.
go.
Yes, I was. Thank you, Jeff, for recognizing me as a former finance committee. I appreciate all the comments that have been made, but I'm just a little curious, Jeff. There is a fourth applicant who submitted his resume to town hall in early April. I gather you have not received that. His name is Brett Higgins. He has been a resident here for almost 10 years, longer than you. And I would encourage y'all to at least explore that as an option. I don't know him, truthfully, but I knew he had submitted his application, and I was really surprised to find that he was not on your list tonight.
Thank you.
And
I'm sorry.
And thank you. And
I'm sorry, Pauline.
thank you. But are you going to look into his application and documents?
Oh, no, you said you said you were surprised that he wasn't in this, and I said thank you.
I know, but will you look into his application?
I'm unaware of it, that he had an application, and there was an application in, and I would Pauline, I would be happy.
Delivered it to the town manager's office.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess I don't get an answer, but
I don't
thank
have an
you.
answer for you, but thank you for bringing up the point.
All right.
I think Mr. Steven has his hand up.
Yes, I do. I just have a comment that between Ayer and Shirley, I was on the finance committee for over 20 years. And I find that the greatest thing a person could have is excitement and willing to be a participant. Most persons been in finance, you can catch on, but finance committees, is extremely important. And there are times when you do everything you think is correct and get beat up at the town meeting. That's expected, but it doesn't feel too well. But I was always excited about working with, and I think you have to be excited to be able to generate the time, because everyone's busy, to be able to put the time aside and say, I'm making this commitment and I'm expected to be there and participate. And if a person is willing to really participate, like Mr. Dan Gleason, I loved it when he was in charge, when he was on the board, the school board, because he was always there. He always came up with an effort. And this is so important. Understanding that you expect to be there at all meetings. Now, maybe there's emergency, but we can plan in our life to do the things that we really want to do. And if you really want to do it, I think it's great. That's all my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Steven.
Thank you, James.
Fred, you got something to add?
You asked about Mr. Diamond. Are we talking about all three, or are we just talking about Mr. Diamond right now?
I think I brought Mr. Diamond in as the third candidate that
Yeah.
was on the list for this evening. And as I said, he did send an email saying he was unable to travel to join us at this point in time.
I think, I'm sorry.
No, and that the question I had, Fred, is can the selection committee work? Do they feel that they could make a recommendation either way for Mr. Diamond, also based on the experience they've had with him here in town, as he's been on the FinCom and served with other members of the finance committee over the last 5 years?
I think that's kind of like a no-brainer from my perspective anyway.
Mhm.
And regarding the other two, I mean, the resumes are great and they seem enthusiastic. They have finance background. It's probably not my place to do it, but I would recommend all three.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Excuse me, we have Pauline has her hand up again. Before I call for the vote, Pauline.
Sorry, Jeff, thank you. So for the committee's information, have you shared Mr. Diamond's resignation letter with them?
I don't have it to share, Pauline, but thank you for
Oh,
asking.
I know you do. Don't say that. I know you do.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a move and a second. Any further discussion from the committee?
Yeah, Mr. Tilson?
Yes, Mr. Gleason.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Diamond, and certainly he's done great service to the town, but I would just find it unfair to the candidates who've come forward. And I don't know the circumstances of his resignation. I wasn't even aware he was the member that resigned to open up this slot. And if
Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Gleason. We currently don't have a functioning finance committee. We need 5 members on a full board. We only have 2. These 3 candidates and these 3 nominees. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, you put your hand up?
I'm raising my hand. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So
well, I had asked a question and Jeff was addressing it. So can we?
I feel like I have to interject. Okay. I don't think that we are being unfair to the 2 candidates that showed up. I think it's unfair to the town that we have not had a fully functional finance committee for several years. So it's my opinion that not only these three candidates, but the fourth one that we don't know about should be considered to be on the finance committee, period. Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with this person has to resign or that person has to resign or something comes up. So even if we had, so let's just do the numbers. Since Lou and I are on the board, that's 2, and we have 4 candidates, that's 6. To have a quorum, you need an odd number, so that's 5. There's no reason why you couldn't have an alternate.
I'm going to speak to that. If you, Mark, I've gone down that road. Thank you. And I agree with you that you can't have enough people in the wings who are interested in serving the different committees in town. It's my understanding, and I believe, Scott, you and I discussed this, and I think I discussed it also with the town manager's office, that the bylaw only allows for 5 members with no alternates right now. When I first got here, alternates were added to committees because of this one issue, and that would be something that would have to be accomplished by the town meeting with a change in the bylaw, because the FinCom is actually appointed by, is a standing committee by bylaw here in town. With that in mind, I would hope that we are looking at that being added to it. Also, Mr. Cordova and Mr. Frykowski both have expressed interest. I have continued to speak to other people about joining the finance committee so that we don't end up in a situation where we have less than a full committee or less than a quorum going forward in the future. And that's a commitment that I'll make to this town. And I think I said it during the candidates evening. And simple fact that here we are a couple of weeks after the election, we've got a selection committee in place and we're bringing people on board. So I cannot recommend that we bring on more than 3 at this point because of our bylaw, but I really do like the idea of having people engaged and ready to go.
Mr. Tillotson?
Yes, Mr. Gleason.
So this is new information to me. I thought we were picking one person from a pool of the 2 that were here. I did not know there were 3 openings. Now that I know that, I would agree with Mr. Aponte's recommendation that we move all 3 forward.
Thank you, Mr. Gleason. And simple fact that you and I haven't talked about this before the meeting. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, thank you. I was going to say we have 3 slots right now. We currently don't have a functioning quorum, which is a challenge for the town as we go through the end of June. But if we do appoint all 3, we have a functioning committee at this point. And I will continue to look at that and bring forward candidates. Because as Mr. Smith says, there may be situations in the near future where we need to seat somebody on the board. And this is an important board, an important committee. So thank you. So I got to move in a second. And any further discussion on seating these 3 people as nominees? Hearing none, I'd like to do a roll call vote. And the squares have moved. Mr. Smith, you put up your hand, so you're now first in line. How do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Ms. Granger?
Aye.
Mr. Aponte?
Aye.
And Mr. Gleason?
Aye.
Thank you very much. It is unanimous that we put forward the 3 nominees, that the committee puts forward Patrick Diamond, Sebastian Cordova, and Kurt Frykowski as candidates, as approved candidates for the finance committee. I want to thank you all for what you've done. And what I will do is I will work with the town manager's office next. There is a letter that has to be written, and I'll be in touch with each of you, Kurt and Sebastian, about things. And I'll also be in touch with Mr. Diamond about what the next steps are. And I have to figure out who's going to get what term, because finance committee terms are staggered. I believe one is this year, one's next year, and one's 2024. So I will be talking to the town manager's office about that in the morning. Any further questions from anybody before we adjourn?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, if you don't mind. I just wanted to
Please.
congratulate the 2 of you and thank you for stepping up. And I also wanted to thank you, Mr. Smith, for your service to the finance committee, your commitment to it. It must be a challenge and a frustration that there was only 2 of you. So I appreciate you sticking with it. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
That's a
Moved by
good one.
Ms.
It's always a
Granger.
good, it's always a good one.
Moved by Ms. Granger, seconded by Mr. Hood.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you,
I hate-
everybody.
It's virtual. I got to do roll call.
Oh,
Mr.
right.
Smith,
right.
how do you vote?
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Mark, you're muted.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Hood,
Aye.
Ms. Granger,
Aye.
Mr. Aponte,
Aye.
Mr. Gleason.
Aye.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for taking the time, everybody, for doing this. Congratulations to Mr. Roskowski and Mr. Cordova. I will be in touch with you in the next 24 hours with the next steps.